it's finally that time. We're going to go ahead and fix this rain gutter on the truck, get it ready, get it to the trans shop, hopefully, get everything fixed, and then actually start working on making it drivable so we can enjoy the summer. First thing that we need to do is get the Sandblaster all ready to go. Now, it's difficult to find sand for some reason anymore, like the white silica sand for sandblasting. A lot of places don't carry it, and when they do, it's like $10, $13 a bag. It's crazy. So we're going to use the next best thing. We just have to do a little bit more work to prep it and make it work. That being the play sand. So that's what we're going to use. Play sand. Now I have this screen, and all we have to do is basically get the large rocks out of that. There are some larger diameter pebbles or whatever inside of these bags of sand that you got to kind of screen out. You can use anything you want. You can use household screen, whatever. This is stainless. It's no big deal. Use a piece of house screen, drape it over your bucket. You know, there you go. This is the old school Sandblaster. God, I don't even remember how old this thing was. It was given to me forever ago. Anyway, I went and put all new Teflon all over it, so we're good to go. I think we'll be all right. It's empty, so we're going to start sifting this sand. All right, there's nothing too difficult about this. This is sand that I've already done. The one thing that you got to kind of watch out for is it's got a ton of dust. I don't know if that matters to you. It's not as good for sandblasting as the pure white silica, but you know what? This is all I could get. So, easiest thing to do, like I said, you can use household screen, whatever you want. Just dump it in. Now you can transfer this stuff back and forth between buckets and whatever and kind of get some of the dust out. Man, this stuff is wet. So that's why we sift out the play sand. There's a lot of rocks in here. Even when I was using the white silica, I had an issue with larger pebbles and stuff getting jammed up in the nozzle. So if you don't do a lot of sandblasting or whatever, you know, these nozzles here get plugged up, stop your flow. It's always crappy time to try to figure out how to get that thing dislodged and go back through the system. So we're good. This sand seems to be pretty wet. You don't want wet sand in your Sandblaster or else it'll plug it up. So I'm going to dump it in this concrete trough, sit out in the sun, kind of let it dry out a little bit. If you're wondering at all how to tell how wet your sand is, you can just kind of look at how it clumps up. You know, like this sand here, nice and fine, doesn't clump at all. It's just totally like powder. This stuff, on the other hand, big chunks, clumps up. So you want to have it as powdery as you can. We're going to try one of the other bags and see if that's as wet as this stuff is. This bag is totally sealed, so hopefully sealed means dry. Now whenever I pour this, if it's dry, it'll just run right through this. See that? So just falling right through. That's good. That's what we want. This dust is the main kind of downside to using this play sand versus the white silica. Is there will be a lot more dust. However, there will be a lot more variation in the size of the grains of sand, which depending on your situation could help you out because it can get into little finer areas at the cost of having a ton of dust. I should mention, if you plan on doing any sandblasting, wear a mask. There is a respiratory problem that you can develop by breathing all of this dust called silicosis. It's really nasty. So wear a mask if you're going to be sandblasting. Now we're outside in the sunlight. You get a little better look at it. Obviously right through there. Just some surface rust from how damp it is here all the time. So I want to protect the windshield as much as I can. This, like, you know, cheap duct tape isn't going to cut it, so I'm going to get the Gorilla tape, tape it off all underneath here the best that I can, so that whenever I hit it with the Sandblaster, especially right there in the front, you can see right in here. Hopefully it just gets kind of blown over and I don't end up scratching my windshield. Windshields aren't super bad. They're like 200 and something a piece. They're probably twice that now, who knows, from the last, 3 months ago that I checked, or 4. But we're going to try to protect the windshield as much as possible. It's not in the best of shape, but it's also not terrible either. Let's roll up these windows. Fire up the Sandblaster, get to work. Well, if you've watched the D150 project at all, I'll leave a card up here to the playlist. But yeah, you'll know that I've fought a trans fluid problem with it ever since I had it rebuilt. So I got a 727 for that. Again, check the playlist if you want to see it all. Got a good 727, took it to a hot rod shop to have it rebuilt, and it's done nothing but leak ever since I got it back. So I put over $400 worth of trans fluid through this thing, and I bet it doesn't have 60 miles on it probably since I rebuilt the engine and everything. And this is what's leaking still since the 3rd time that they fixed it. I believe that's what it was. Just won't stop leaking. If this shop still can't fix this thing, I'm just going to go ahead and put the 4-speed in it because I'm tired of messing with it. So let's duct tape this thing all up and get to sandblasting. This stuff is super tough. I'm sure it'll hold up to some sandblasting, especially indirect. All right, this should work out for us. So I've got it tucked up underneath there the best I can. Now, I do have a new window seal for this thing, so we don't have to worry about that thing getting scuffed too much. I just want to keep it right off the glass. But yeah, so we'll get to blasting. There's not really a safe distance for you guys to be up there in the blast range. I don't want to destroy the only camera that I've got, so I'm going to kind of let you see it from afar, like when I taped it up, get it from the angles or from the side. Well, that should get us where we need to be. We'll have lots of room for the hose. I'm going to leave the tractor just idling so I can keep the hydraulic pressure up. Then the bucket won't sag. All right, well, you may notice got some new additions. I'm trying to get more organized. So on this thing, O-ring was gone. That's why it was leaking like crazy. So took all of this stuff, rigged up something that looks questionable and is kind of loose, but it should work for us. It's a little bit loose, but you know what? It'll be fine. It ain't leaking. So that's good. Got our line plumbed on. Should be good. Let's sandblast. I can't even see the screen on the phone anymore. All right, I don't know. Can you even see anything? Oh, it's on the wrong way. All right, well, I guess you didn't. I don't know. Anyway, let's see. This is why this was the job that I was dreading for so long. You can see it tore right through. I don't know if you can, how well you can see it. But coming from the back, actually tore the steel out. So that's kind of pressures. Hopefully I didn't get too much on my windshield. But yeah, right there you can feel it like sharp burrs. You can see it in the shade pretty good. So you've actually seen more of this now than I have. I haven't even had a chance to look at it. But there you go. I did not want to do this for so long. This is really the first really nice day that we've had. And as you can tell, you really have to have dry sand. You saw me having to stop all the time and screw around with that Sandblaster. That's because the sand stopped flowing. So you really need to have a lot of pressure and really good dry sand. So especially for, you know, the type of system that this is. This is a Harbor Freight pressure pot Sandblaster. It's not exactly the best quality. I did find that O-ring down in the sand, but it works good, but you do need dry sand and a lot of pressure. And you got to have good dryers. So I've got 3 dryers. This is the 3rd dryer. And there's 2 more small crappy ones right there, but you know what? They do capture a lot of the water. So we did have pretty decent sand. We could see some moisture come into the primary, and they get kind of trapped by the secondary, and then out, and then into the 3rd. So we got to be pretty close to being clean, dry air. It was mostly in the sand itself, but yeah. So this is kind of it. Once I get to this point, you know, there's really no going back. I'm gonna have to prime this tonight, or get something on it, and then sand the rest of it down. So I'll have to blow all this out. You can't leave it exposed like that in this climate, or it'll be rusty by tomorrow. Actually, it'll be rusty by tonight if I don't spray something on it. Yay, birds. Yeah, so that's sandblasting. What do you think? Lots of fun, huh? Truck's looking great. I'll go and try to do a rust converter treatment on that roof just to kind of get it by so it doesn't flash rust. It's just a spray. Let's see if I got any of it around. Alright, so this is what I'm going to try. It's just rust converter, rust treatment, I don't know, permatext. It's got to create some type of a barrier to keep it from rusting, right? So I'll give it a shot. I've tried it on the Jeep. It just turns rust black or whatever, but it just doesn't do anything to regular rust or regular metal. All right, so my plan for this stuff is basically just to coat this, just so it creates some type of a non-rusting barrier, some type of barrier from the moisture. I'll come through and finish this all up. Got to sand it down and everything. I just don't want it to continue to rust overnight. So hopefully this will work. So that's how it looks after this Permatex stuff dries. It's kind of like a matte finish or whatever. So yeah, it doesn't look like it's gonna be rusting until we can get to it. Next video is gonna be on you know, repairing this with my epoxy repair, whatever. Hopefully it works out. I don't see why it won't. But I'm gonna call it on this video. we got a lot done today. That Sandblaster is such a filthy thing to use, man. I'm just totally dirty. But we did get a ton done. Got all this stuff fixed. Everything's good. Next video should be great. We're just going to keep on trucking on the D150, no pun intended. So that's it. There's an entire playlist on this truck if you want to see this built 360 and all the stuff I've done to it. Check it out. I think the cards are right there. So I want to thank you for watching and hanging out with me. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll catch you on the next one.